Okay, everybody, welcome to Interviews for Poems from the Heart. I am your host, Crystal Ortiz, and also co-author of the book Poems of the Heart. And we have here another co-author from our book, Chrystina. And it's a pleasure to have you here today. And I'm looking forward to asking you a few questions about your creative processes and things like that. And thank you so much for being here with me today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm really excited to answer some questions and, send out the message more about the amazing book that's on the way.
Okay, great. So the first thing I'd like to ask you is what inspired you to participate in Poems from the Heart and to share your poetry?
I honestly, it was Radhaa Publishing Company. I really enjoy the way that she inspires people to just speak and use their own voice and come from the heart and your soul. Um, that's really what inspired me, and to know that everybody was going to come together and collaborate with different individual experiences and many hearts. It's a beautiful collaboration. So I wanted to be a part of it.
Okay, great. And I have to say I agree with a lot of those things. All right. So are you able to offer a glimpse of the creative process behind your contribution to this collaborative book?
Yes, there was actually a very inspiring meditation / workshop that Radhaa was facilitating, and it was very influential to the poem that I chose. I chose one poem, and it was based around facing my own shadow and talking to my shadow, and also different parts of me that maybe are hidden, different experiences. People don't know what you've walked unless you've walked it, right? So in this poem, it's basically just a welcoming, housewarming invitation to feel how you feel when you read the words that I decided to put down. And just kind of the workshop that she did, it really helped me be okay with expressing myself, and also to not feel like I had to perfect it, because that's really important to know that you don't have to have the best grammar. You don't have to have be like the most amazing poet in the world. Just speak from your soul. And that's what's going to make a difference in this world, is when people start to really speak from their soul. And that workshop really influenced that poem, because it really brought out some deep emotions that I expressed within that poem.
Right. Okay. Yeah, those helped me a lot too. Those workshops were super beneficial. So kudos to Radha.
Yeah, and I actually didn't participate. I was busy. I'm a solo mom, and she reminded me that you really gotta, do what you're passionate about, make time for yourself. So when
Mhm.
when he was off going to services, I was rewatching the videos, and they still made a huge impact. And I could feel the energy and the love from each and everyone that participated, and especially Radhaa, who really opened up that safe space to do so.
Okay. And how has your experience with Radhaa Publishing House and the Author Incubator Program impacted your poetic journey? I feel like some of the stuff you said kind of answers
Yeah.
that
Um,
question.
I guess I like to write songs. I'm a singer. I'm a flow dancer, flow singer, and it actually opened me up to do more of this, and to do it more public. Um, After I wrote my poem, I felt like singing and dancing more. It just is very inspiring to just kind of get that creative flow going, and that's very inspiring. And I think that if people read this book and see how much impact it can have on someone, like just by writing from the heart, I think a lot of people are just gonna be moved.
Absolutely. Okay. what aspects of the workshop and feedback sessions have helped you refine and enhance your poetry?
I would say the prompts, because I think sometimes we have so many words that are just like, we try to think about the best word, you know, when we're writing our poems or our songs, sometimes it's hard to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to kind of like imagine certain things. It's like you have it in your head, but you can't really like write it out or spit it out. So those prompts really helped a lot and it's almost like these aha moments, like, and then like listening to the other poets, that was so inspiring because the poets that you'll see once you get the book, you'll see that there's so many amazing poets that are a part of this collaboration. I mean, they blew me away with their words and the way that they wrote on the spot, and they just really, again, they just spoke. You could tell that everyone had their individual experiences, and I think that's what really makes a big difference in a book like this. You know, it's like the collaboration alone is just a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. I feel that that helped me too. The same prompted words, 5 or 6 words, how they could mean such completely different things or
Yeah.
expressions that people were able to create from their own life to put together. So absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. Um, and what messages or emotion do you hope readers will take away from your poem or poems in the book?
I would say acceptance, acceptance of who you are, acceptance of and forgiveness, because sometimes I think there's a lot of stuff in our lives where we think that we could have done things differently, but that is, I think, life. I think we're human and we all have live and learn moments, and
Mhm.
you know, acceptance of who we are, acceptance of our voice, and to know that our voice matters, you know, because I think in a world full of masks, you know, we need to see that like our voice needs to be heard. And I think sometimes we feel like we're not as important as someone else when we are, especially if we're
Mhm.
speaking from the soul and the heart.
Absolutely. Hmm. Okay. And how do you envision the collaborative nature of Poems from the Heart shaping the collective experience of readers and poets alike?
I just think it's a great message to send out to the world that we all should collaborate as one, because we are at one. We are all one, right? We're all together in this. Um, we should encourage, inspire, just like what Radhaa Publishing Company does, which inspires us to share our passions with each other, and in that alone is, you know, is going to be a domino effect. I feel like you share my passion, I'll share your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, one hand with the whole concept, one hand washes the other, helping each one teach one, and just all those things that make you interconnected, like a little chain link, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, because I mean, what do we all want, really? We want connection, you know, and I
Mhm.
think sometimes we just feel like people don't understand us, but really it's because
Yeah.
sometimes we just aren't really putting ourselves out there, and we would realize actually we have a lot in common with each other. And that's what's
Mhm.
beautiful about getting to know each other through this book, is like you're going to be like, oh, I can relate to that, and I can feel that person and where they're, you know, where they're going with this, and
Yeah.
the
And
different interpretation is what I really love.
yeah, it's enhancing our human experience. Okay. And are you able to share any memorable moments or insights gained during your involvement with Radha Publishing House and the collaborative project?
Just that accept, when you join together, that's when the fun begins. I feel like when you walk alone, that's great. But when you join together and collaborate collectively, and you're just putting all your thoughts and your emotions, and it's just, I think it's just a big bubble of love. And I think that's what I really like about this
Okay.
collaboration at Radha Publishing Company. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. All right. And how do you feel that participating in this project has empowered you as a poet and contributed to your growth and development?
I think that Radhaa Publishing, well, Radhaa specifically, she inspires you to put your poems out there, put your words out there, and not to, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think when she was talking in some of the workshops, she's like, don't think that it has to be perfect, because it's just, and it is perfect because it's coming from your soul. And I think that really caught me the most. Is I was like, oh yeah, wait a second, like with art, there's like so many different subjective, point of views, and that's what makes it so wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think she speaks so much about that. And I think it just reminds us, like, we're human and our human experiences on this like earth school. And she just has that beautiful, loving reminder where you can feel the love when she's speaking, like in her workshops or when she's supporting you, because through this process, she's there for you, which I think is, priceless in so many ways. She wants to make sure that you're comfortable. She wants to make sure that you feel accepted. She wants to make sure that you feel like you're belonging and you're in a secure place to open up. And I think that right there is just precious, because we need that space, especially as artists, as creators, and I think like when we have that space, that's when real magic happens.
Absolutely. Okay. So as we approach the release date of Poems from the Heart, what are you most excited about, and how do you plan to promote the book within your network and community?
Well, when I first decided to be a part of the collaboration, I posted something on my Facebook, and because I actually had many years of recovering from long haul COVID, where I actually had brain fog and I actually stopped writing. But as I was starting to get back into it, I actually saw Radha's writing, where it was so inspiring that, the way that she was basically just writing from the heart.
Mhm.
And that was like, so when I posted this, it was like people knew that I was a writer, but Radha helped me remember who I was, remember that I have these words that are important or that are special, that should be read, that should be, in a book. And I think like when I posted it, I had people going like, oh wow, like tell me more about the book. And this was like when I decided to do it. It wasn't even like we have like hardly any information at this point. And I was just like so excited to see how many people are actually really wanting a book like this. People that are seeking that book that, helps them feel accepted and loved, and a book that comes from the heart. People want this. And it was really nice to see people excited about it.
Okay. Can you share a significant moment or experience that solidified your passion for poetry?
I would say just reading a bunch of poems, like poems I used to love to read in high school. And then I started reading poetry, not writing it, because again, I had like a writer's block. And so I started reading it online, because I just think that poetry is so powerful, and the way that people can kind of like jump into a poem and start to feel certain emotions. I just think that's like super special. And so I started reading poems from like Mary Oliver,
Mhm.
very, very simple poetry, and I read them online, and I had people that were, that were like, oh, I love that poem. Like that poem means a lot to me. And again, it's like that connection of like feeling like you're connecting with people. And I think that, yeah, just to connecting with people, connecting. I love it.
All right. What themes or subjects do you find yourself drawn to most frequently in your poetry, and why do they resonate with you?
I would say inner child, um, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we have had in our childhood that influences us. The society itself influences us. So I think just finding your own voice, um, and the shadow side, like the dark side and the light side, like we all have a dark side, we all have a light side, and we need to befriend that. And Radhaa actually really encourages you to do that also, is to befriend the shadow side, and your light side, you know, because that's a part of you, and you are beautiful the way you are. So that's why becoming more aware of it gives you almost like the ability to kind of like grow as a person. So yeah.
Okay. All right. How do you overcome creative blocks or challenges when writing poetry? And do you have any tips for other poets that may be facing similar obstacles?
I would say find poems that you enjoy, find a poet, even ask around. That's what I did. I ended up asking a friend, like, hey, what kind of poems do you like? Like, I got into Mary Oliver from a friend who thought that I would enjoy it. And then I started reading it. Even like listening to music, anything that you feel guided to do. If you like music, listen to more music. If you like to dance, flow with a dance. I'm a flow dancer, flow singer. So I'll be flowing all the time. You know, and it's just all that creativity, that all the words, you know, in the lyrics, the music. Yeah, but I would say find writers, even people, even like in social media or something. If you're on that, I would say go find people that inspire you, rather than that don't. You know, people that uplift you. People like Radhaa. Radha's writing is beautiful, inspiring, and it's like sometimes when I have blocks, I'll go onto her page and I'll be like, you know, I'll feel like, you know, we're all powerful in our own way, and she reminds us of this.
Okay. She does. She absolutely does. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in what ways has poetry helped you navigate and make sense of complex emotions or life experiences?
I would say just seeing different perspectives. I love looking at different perspectives. I'm a very open-minded person, and that
Mm.
helps me because I'm able to see different perspectives and see the poem in many different ways.
Yeah, I feel that that's so liberating to try and see things from different point of views and then use them all collectively to then make your own decision. And, you know, I think that's great.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And how do you approach the process of self-discovery and reflection through your poetry, and how has it evolved?
I would say the more darker stuff, the more hidden emotions have risen. You know, it's like things that were, you know, kind of like in the sand and you're digging it up. And like as you're digging it up, you're like getting to know yourself more and more, like your shadow slash your inner child. You know, how sometimes we have to remother ourselves, refather ourselves, things like that. But we really got to dig deep dive, put it a dig dive into emotions, and be okay with, you know, what you find, because
Absolutely.
that's still, yeah, it's a part of you. And Radhaa really, you know, during her workshops, that's what, you know, that she worked a lot with that, you know, our deep emotions that, you know, sometimes we prefer to hide or avoid. And you know, once we kind of dig it up, we're able to see so much more, and you know, see us as a whole.
She did. She absolutely did help with that for me as well. Um,
Yeah.
what are your aspirations and goals as a poet, and how do you envision your poetic voice continuing? Uh, didn't I ask that already? I'm sorry. Oh, no, no, no. It's because I had the same word evolve. I'm like, okay, I thought I asked that. Excuse me. What are your aspirations and goals as a poet, and how do you envision your poetic voice continuing to evolve and grow?
I would say not just with poems. I'd say with lyrics, with singing, with songs, anything that can get the message out that we're all beautiful the way we are. We all shine. We're all stars in our own way. You know, whether or not you want to go on stage or not, it just, we're all just human. And again, it's a beautiful thing to know and accept ourselves. And I think that that's the type of message I want to give out, and through my poems and also through my lyrics.
Absolutely. Okay. And why do you believe Poems from the Heart is so important today? And what do you hope it will contribute to the literary landscape?
Again, I think we wear a lot of masks in our lives and in our life, and a lot of times it's because we don't feel like we're going to be as accepted if we didn't have that mask on, because society, you know, kind of conditions us to think the way that you know. But as I got older, more wiser, I realized that you know, a lot of the truths that people tell you are actually, you know, they may not be the truth anymore. And I think
Mhm.
like that's what's really important about this, is like we kind of make our own decisions. You know, we're living our own life. We're going to go down our own path, and we don't have to, you know, follow. We follow other people if we don't agree with them, if they don't align with us. We can
Mhm.
find what aligns with us, and we can go that way.
Mhm. Absolutely. Okay. What has been the most rewarding aspect of participating in creating Poems from the Heart?
I think just seeing that how other people's minds work, how there was a workshop where they were being prompted to do certain poems, but there were things going on in their lives, and they were their poems were basically cheering on other poets. And I just thought that was such a wonderful thing, to know that that book was a collaboration with these beautiful humans who were basically going through a lot, but yet they were still trying to cheer up and inspire the people around them.
Okay. All right. And how do you plan to celebrate the release of Poems from the Heart? And what does this milestone mean to you personally?
I think just, you know, Radha's publishing company just inspires you to get your voice out there. I think sometimes people, you know, they have beautiful poems, beautiful songs, beautiful art, and they don't feel like it's good enough, and so they don't put it out. And so it's kind of like hidden, and where it could have made a difference. And I feel like a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that people hide, if you were to like, you know, find it, you'd be like, they'd be amazed how somebody else actually, it really did inspire someone and make a difference in their life. And that's what I really love about this, is it's going to make differences, you know, in people's lives.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. And can you share a moment or experience from the journey of creating your poetry from for this book that deeply moved or inspired you?
There was a workshop where she had us actually kind of envision our shadow. And
Mhm.
it actually, I was like, I questioned as I was doing it. I'm like, well, what is my shadow? What would it look like?
Mm.
Why would it look like that? Why am I feeling like it would look like that? And I hadn't actually felt that. When I see shadow or hear shadow, I basically just in my head just see a darkness. But when I was doing this workshop, which was facilitating it through the meditation, that's not what I saw. You know, I saw the young child in me. It came through, and it was like, wait a second, it's the young me that's talking to the older me, saying that I can do whatever I put my heart into. And I thought that was
Okay.
pretty, yeah. So that was
Yeah,
a pretty big
I like
moment.
I like that. Okay. And what legacy do you hope Poems from the Heart will leave behind, both for you as a poet and for the readers who engage with it?
Just that your words are important. um I think, again, I think sometimes we feel like we have to hush hush when no, like we should speak our you know, we should speak up and say what we feel.
Okay. And how has Radha Publishing helped you accomplish your poetic goals and dreams?
What is it? What was the
How,
question?
how did Radha Publishing help you accomplish your poetic goals and dreams?
Oh, well, it's being published with a bunch of amazing other poets. I think that that's pretty amazing.
I can agree. Yes, absolutely. All right. And looking back at your journey with Poems from the Heart, what lessons have you learned about the power of poetry and collaboration in storytelling and self-expression?
That when you open up your ears a little bit more, and you the more people that you interact with or that you listen to, uh the more you'll learn, the more you'll open up to the poems itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that answer. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Christina, so much for being
Yeah,
here and
thank you for
for
having me.
doing this interview. I can't wait for our book to be released so we can, make bestseller and do all these beautiful things that we have worked so hard for. And thank you once again for coming and joining and allowing me to interview you today.
Yes, of course, I'm excited. I'm very excited for people to buy the book and read all these poems that are from the heart.
All right. Until next time, viewers, thank you so much for watching
Bye.
one of our interviews and see you next time.
Bye bye.